Can you hear me now? Perfect. So good evening, everyone. Let me. So anyone has any question uh, from yesterday's class? I shared one PPT with you, right? So did you get a chance to go through that PPT which contains the functions? So we have covered few of them. Perfect. So there are a couple of important function on which which I'm going to cover today, and those are input and put function from the category from categorical function category. So quickly, let me open the slide. Where is the date time one? Let me open the character functions. So the few functions which I told you that I am going to cover today is input function, right? So this function is used to convert your character data into a numeric data. So at times while you are importing files from a different from a different format, which is not a SAS format, you may find a few values have been captured as a character. Now, if you want to convert them into a number, then you will be using your input function. So the syntax is your new variable is equal to input, the name of the function, the old variable, comma in format, right? So the in format could be 8 point dot, right, comma 5.6, some 5.2, and so on. The other function we have in this category is put function. Now put is just opposite to character function. Put help us to convert a numeric value into a character value, right? And the format could be the format is same, the put old variable and then format, right? So let me go back to the another function, the find. So this is used to find a particular string, the find function, all right? And find the C function searches a string for the first occurrence of a character from a list that you supply as a second argument to the function. So let me go to the example once. So for example, so this is an example. If you are using a find function, right, and this is your string xyzcba, and if you have to search abc from this function, from this string, your value written would be 0, right? Because find function only searches in the same sequence, right? Your abc should be in the same sequence. However, your find c function can search this, all right, in any given format. So your abc is one string and this is starting from fourth place. So any character which is being provided here, it will find its first occurrence. So your answer is 4. Find C, another example, XYZ comma, any of this string. So the first instance of any of these character would be returned. Another example, find D, sorry, find, we have one character D and we want to find this string. Your answer would be 0. However, with the find C function, your answer would be 1 because a, any instance of from this string is available over here, and that too in the first place. All right. uh, Find would not be able to find again this, right? Find C would find first instance of ABC, and by using I, which stands for ignore case, irrespective of their format or their case, you will get your answer. Any question on find and find C? Okay, so let me move on to the find W. So find W function is similar to find function except that it searches for word, hence W stands for word in the function name. So in place of character, this will look for a word. So find there is a dog, comma, and we are searching the, right? So this will return 1. Find W will return 10 because there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and your die is starting from 10th position. All right. And in the second example, you have a string pair colon apple, and you're searching apple, right? And your delimiter is colon. So in place of space, your delimiter is colon. So we can also supply the third option over here as a modifier. So from start, this will give you 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your apple is starting from 6th, look, 6th place. Any question on this? All right. So I'm jumping onto the next session, next section of function, which is a datetime function, and these are pretty important, right? And these are very frequently used also. Me. So today, so everyone knows. So today, this function return the current date, and the day returns the day of the month from a SAS date value. So if you have a day, so how to define a date in SAS? So let me show you that. So let me start with one by one. Let me make everything as comment. So today would written again the today's date, and this number is the number of days between your today's date and 1/1/1960. All right, and similar to today we have date time. So date time would written current date and time. So let me change the format as well. Let me change the format for Y. Right, so X is into a date format and the Y is in the date time format. Alright. So how to define a date? So to define a date manually in SAS, so you will be writing date in this format only, and after that you will be using a small d. This means date literal. So this will convert your this text into a date. So let me run this. So A is being stored as a number of days between the date you have defined here and in the number of days between this date and the 1st Jan 1960. Alright. So do you guys want to try this function at your end? Please try this function at your end. So we will be covering a few more functions using these dates only. Let me know once you are done with this. So X, Y, and A variable. Please ping me on the chat once you're done. So have you guys completed this? Perfect. What about the rest of the people? Thanks. Ajad, you did. Okay, perfect. So now, so so if you want to read only the date portion, let's say you want to get XYZ, if you write day from X, so you will get only date portion. Oh, sorry, the day portion, which is 5. 5th of Feb, so you are getting only 5, right? R, R will give the R portion with easy. Weekday, so return the day of the week from a SAS date value, right? So if you want to try weekday from X, then so answer would be 7. 1. So today is Sunday. Okay. So Sunday is 1 and your Saturday is 7. So I was thinking it is a Saturday. All right. Date, return the current date. So it is just like your today function. So date is also being used for returning the today's date. Date part. Now from date time, uh, generally we got this date time value from uh, the data where we are capturing time stamp, right? And for analysis purpose, we only require the date portion. So this is a very helpful function. Date part, very commonly used. Sorry, this is from Y. So this is date part. Again, if you format this, then you will get value as 5th April 20. If you want to try it, you can do it over here. So sorry, 5th April 2020. Alright, so similarly, you can do mathematical operation like subtracting. And on these functions, date time covered. Okay, now the one of the important functions interval check. Let me go to this interval check. So you have some data like this, right? So forget about these two lines, right? So if you read this data, again, give a comment. So this is your data, right? Now the interval CK and interval NX are the two important functions which help you to check the number of intervals in a given time span. So INTCK stands for interval check. So the syntax is the interval. So the interval over here means you could ask for interval day interval. So this function helps you to calculate the number of day between two different days, the number of month, number of year, number of quarter, and so on. So syntax is the interval, which means you want the difference of days, you want the difference of month, comma followed by from the starting date to the end date, right? So let's check this example. INTCK. So you are looking for a difference of year. This is start date and this is your end date. So if you look at these 2 days, the difference is year wise 0, right? Why? Because date has not changed. However, if you check for the number of days, you will find answer as 365. Similarly, for these two dates, 31st December 2005 and 1st Jan 2006, there is small typo over here, so this date should also come as uh, with D. Right? So the says though there is a difference of 1 day, however, there is also a difference of 1 year because year has changed. Similarly, in this case, that these 2 days falls in the same month, so the month difference is 0. These are two different ones, so the difference is 1. And for quarter, so 25th March and 15th April, the difference is 1 quarter. Any question on INTCK function? So I am taking silence as yes, no question. So similar to interval CK, there is another function by name of INTNX. So this helps you to advances a date, time, or date time value at given interval. So now you want to get a date that okay after today's date come visit me after 3 months, right? Now after 3 months, what would be the date? That date could be the same date. That could be the beginning of the month, right? So INTNX, the interval which you want, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals from this to this. Sorry, interval is the day-wise interval, month-wise interval from the date, and how many intervals from that particular date. And the alignment parameter is you want that in the beginning, middle, and or in the same day. So let me show you with one example. So this is a data, right? And you need to give someone a appointment of after 4 months, right? So input date mmddy, this is the format, right? Next appointment is equal to interval next. I want this data into I want a difference of months from this date to 4 months later, and it should be on same day. So from 3rd of March 2009 to 3rd July 2009. 5th May 2000. However, if I remove this option and then run this, it is giving you a beginning of the day. Sorry, beginning of the month. Right? So you have alignment parameter like beginning, middle, and then same day. So for example, if I want to use a middle, so since March is a 31 day month, it is giving us 16th July. Sorry, July is 31 month has 31 days in the month. For May, uh, 4 months is 15th September because September is 30 has 30 days in a month, so 15 is return. Any question on this interval CK and interval next function? So I want you to try this one. Okay. So let me explain one more function, then probably you can try. So there is another function which is known as year diff. Year diff, as the name says, year difference. So you let me do the alignment. So if you run this program, you will get your year difference, right, in decimals. Right now, this calculation is being done on the basis of 365.25 days in a year. So the difference which you are seeing over here, this difference is being calculated that there are 365.25 days in a year. However, there are few financial institutions which calculate the difference on the basis of 30 days in a month and 360 days in a year basis. So you can provide a third parameter to change the calculation of days. So now the every calculation will be on the basis of 360. So if you see the difference, there is a very slight difference. Let me see that if we have. So if you want to try it, you can try it at your end now, and do let me know once you're done. Anshu, so year diff means is a function which means difference in year. So just let me know once you are done with this. Then guys, please confirm once you're done. So just ping me once you completed this. Should I move or you guys need more time? Okay, Shubham has completed. No output show. Oh, okay. So just paste your code, Anshu. Input file. Okay. Input. Okay, file. So, Anshu, your second line of code which can use input file. So your variable name is file, not the date. So change that file to date. So if you change that, your code would be successfully dot shown in column. Okay, let me quickly go through it. Give me a second. Let me paste your code over here. This is what you have written. So what you do, you need to change this date. MMDDYY. Okay. One Y is missing from here. And let me see what else. It's working now. What of the rest of the people? Shatakshi Azad. Done. Perfect. Anshu is working now. So what you need to do, you need to change your file to date, a line AA. Okay. So okay, this triple A. So this is a variable which I have created for year difference. So if I want a difference from this date, right, and the date which we have created through this variable, right? So the calculation will be done on the basis of 365.25, right? So because we have 365.25 days in a year, and that's why on fourth year we got always receive a leap year because we use 366 days. So that extra days being divided into four parts. Now few financial institution does calculation on the basis of 360 days in a year, right? So to change this to 360 days in a year, we can use this keyword 360 upon 30 days in a month. So your difference would be calculated now with the 360 days, considering 360 days in a year. So for example, let me show you with one example. So let's say you have a date. Okay. So you have a date A, you have a date B, right? So between these two days, let's say you have a 1,000 days of difference. So as for one calculation, this year difference would come out to be 365.25. However, from the second calculation, this would come out to be, right? So this is the difference between 365.25 and 360 days in a year. Got it? Alrighty, so let me move to the next section. So these all are your functions. So let me quickly cover a few more functions in the day. Your MDY function. So this function will help you to create a date from different values. So if you have a month in a different column, day in a different column, year in a different column, so you can provide all these three and can create a date. Rarely used. Time part similar to date part, you can extract time part from your data. Year, so with the help of year, you will extract the year part from your date. Month, you can extract month part. Quarter, you can convert your date into a quarter. Which quarter? Year diff, I have already covered. Now I am going to cover a written statement, right? Uh, so before jumping this, so this written statement help us to retain a value from the previous iteration. So let me show you with one example. So do you guys know what is the mean of cumulative frequency? Please raise your hand if you know the cumulative frequency. Yes, no, maybe. Shubham, any idea about the cumulative frequency? Okay, so cumulative frequencies. So you wanna give it a try? Alright, so this is your frequency, and to calculate cumulative frequency, what you do, you keep this value as it is. Now this should be this plus this, right? So your end value and the last value of cumulative frequency, the sum of your frequency would be equal to the last value, right? So how we can get the cumulative frequency in a data step. So we will be using a function by name of retain. So let me just brief you the data which we have in front of your screen. So we have a data from baseball team performance, right? So this is the day, this sorry the month, the day with the team they played against, right? This is a hits and this is a run. So to run this program, so day, month, team, hits, run, runs to date. Now, if you need to check, okay, let me, let me close this one as well. Okay, this is my data. So month, day, team, hit, runs, right? Now, if you have to calculate a day wise or the cumulative frequency for the runs, right? What you can do, you can use a retain statement, right? So what you can do, retain. For example, let's say you want to retain, you want to create a cumulative run, and your cumulative run is equal to cumulative run and runs. So if you want to calculate a cumulative run, so what you would be doing, you would be what you would be doing, you would be adding this frequency to the frequency. So similarly, if I change it to run, and this is cumulative run, right? So this is what exactly I've done in this formula. However, SAS runs line by line and observation by observation. So the moment it reach here, it will forget this value. Now, if you want to retain that value, you need to write it in this retain statement. So see, so your cumulative runs are 3. So in the first instance, your cumulative run would be a missing value. So the sum for the first iteration, your missing comma run would be 3. Now in the second iteration, your cumulative run will be retained, which is 3 now. In the second iteration, your cumulative run is 3 and your run are 5. So your answer would be 8. Right? Now in the third iteration, 8 will be retained and 4 would be added and so on. I am pinging this data in the chat box and I want you all to follow along. So only run the program which is not commented, right? So skip this. I will cover this in a while. And ping me once you are done with this. Please ping me once you have done this. Facing a lot of challenges. Please let me know if you need more time. Which column, Anshu? Column name? Anshu, in which column you are seeing this dot? Okay, show me the output. Let me just share. Data game style file data lines input month 100 theme color. So your data lines should look like this, Anshu. Sure, have you done this? Satashi, good. Okay. So, Anshu, the spacing which you have used in your input statement, that is not matching with the column. Ajad, done? So, Anshu, confirm me once you are done, or if you are still facing the challenge, that do let me know. Perfect. All right. So, you understand this retain uses of retain function, right? I can do this thing in one line of code. Rather using retain statement, I can use one statement that is known as sum statement, right? So let me just refresh everything. So I am back on the same place, right? Now, if I want to do the same thing, right? without using a written statement. How I can do this? I can use a sum statement. So let's say come run plus run. So the sum statement helps me to retain the value for my this variable, right? And the output would be added to this variable. So let me run this. So 3 plus 5, 8 plus 4, 12 plus 2, 14 plus 8, 22 and so on. So your sum statement, this is the sum statement. So this runs would be added to your come and will be assigned to this. So this is similar to your, if you remember your Python, you must have you must have used one thing which is a plus equals to 5, right? Addition plus assignment. All right. However, you need to remember one thing. If you change the sequence of this, if you change the sequence, then see what will happen. Everything would be missing for components. All right. So your sequence should be this only. All right. Any question on this? Oh, all right. So let me show you another uses of written statement. Now, if you want to calculate the maximum run on a particular day or date, right? So how we can use it? We can retain this. We want to create a variable by name of maximum run, and the maximum run is equal to maximum of this the and the current run. Sorry. So this will show you three, right? So let me show what are the variables names. So your max run and runs. So in the first iteration, your max run would be missing and your runs would be 3. So missing, comma 3. So maximum would be 3, right? So now since we have used retain statement, so this 3 will be retained by SAS. In the next iteration, your max run is 3. So 3, comma 5. So and the maximum run would be 5. In the next iteration, so this max run is 5, comma 4, and the maximum is 5. So 5 would be returned. 5, comma 2, max 5, 5, comma 8, 8, and so on. Complete the program and let me know that once you're done.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please repeat the maximum run.
So maximum run. So this max function will return the maximum between these two variables, right? Maximum runs and runs. Now, in the first iteration, you do not have this value. So you are creating a new variable maximum run. So in the first column, first iteration, you do not have maximum run. So the missing value, right? So the value of for maximum is a blank, comma runs. So the maximum would be 3. So 3. So let's say this is next column is for missing. So this is missing. So what would be the value? 3. Now, since we have used retain statement, so your maximum run would be retained. So value of maximum run would is now 3. So this will be retained by this variable. In the next iteration, in this line, value of maximum run is 3, comma 5, and the answer is 5. So 5 will be assigned. So your answer would be 5. In the next iteration, the 5 is retained by this retain statement. So maximum is equal to maximum of 5, comma this 4. So answer would be 5 again. This is how this function will work.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So these are the example of sum statement and retain statement, right? And the sum function is used to add two variable, right? So I'm using sum to add this, and sum statement is used to retain the value from previous iteration. Now moving on to the next thing, which is conditional statement in SAS. So if you look at your screen, so if can be used in data
Uh,
step.
just a minute.
Hello,
It's
yes.
not showing the correct Sakshi here. So it's not showing the correct output for me somehow. It's just
Which one? This one?
yes. It's not printing the maximum. It's just printing whatever is there in the run column. I've
Okay,
sent
so
you.
this. So okay, so you have sent the code. So let me check the code. Satakshi. So just change and retain a statement in place of runs. Only write run.
Okay, just a second. Instead of written, I would write run.
So in retain a statement, so you have
Yeah.
written max run, right?
Yes.
Runs. So there is in place of runs. you need to write run only. Let me
Oh, just run.
just max run, not runs. You need to remove f.
Okay, okay, got it. Let me just try it. Yes, it's working now.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the next section, which is conditional statement. So what are the conditional statement? That we want our output on the basis of some condition, right? So if you write your program like this, if gender is equal to male, then you will get answer as all the people who gender is mentioned as male in your data. What we are doing, we are reading an existing SAS data set and we are using if statement to select few row of data. Pretty easy. Now, next statement, if you want the other way around, for example, if you want your age, if it is 12, then you should not get the answer. For rest of every age, you should get the answer. So what you will write? If age is equal to 12, then delete. So what will happen? Except 12, you will get output for every other age group. Easy one. Just like you play in English. All right. So the next thing which I am going to show you how to create multiple data on the basis of conditions. All right. So for example, you want to create two different data set, right? On the basis of two different conditions. So for example, if your gender is male, then you want to store that data into a particular column, particular table, sorry. If it's a female, then you want to store that data into a different table. So what you need to do, first step, that the number of data sets you want to create. So for example, if you want to create 5 data sets, so you will be writing 5 different data set name over here. Sorry. So in our case, we have only two categories in the variable gender. So we will be using two data sets. So test F and test M. These are two data sets. Now set statement we already know, used to read existing SAS data set. Now on the basis of conditions. So for example, if gender is equal to female, then output is this data set. So this output will help you to create a this output will help you to store the data into this data set as output in this table, right? I will come to this point if you have multiple conditions, so how you will write in a while. So once you submit this, let me clear this as well. So test female, test male. You wanna give it a try at your end? Please give it a try and just ping me once you're done. Guys, please let me know once you're done. Error dataset work.test is already open. So Satakshi, please close this dataset, uh, uh, which are open, or you just change the name of your this dataset. You cannot run a program for an open dataset. Shubham, this it is not printing the columns test. So these two are not the columns, Shubham. These are the two new data sets, right? So if you want to see the output, you just need to write. So these are the output. If you want me to print it, I can print it for you. So in a one go, you can print only one data set. So I need to change the data set name. In the second go, I will run M. Satakshi, it is solved for you.
Sir, I'm not able to understand from where will I close it. I don't see it open in SAS.
Oh, yes, it's a little tricky in this as a studio. So what you can do in a meanwhile, you just change the name of your this, the data set name, right?
Okay.
So you have used these two, right? Or a different one?
Same.
Same, and the output it is saying, and then output you're writing this.
Yes.
Okay. And then why it is showing you error in test? Let me check your error once more. Than error dataset work.test is already open for output. Uh, so you have used test, right, in place of test app somewhere.
Yeah,
Over
let me
here
just
might be over here. Or you can ping me your code, then I can probably check.
yeah, let me just do that.
So Anshu, to your question that it will show only one output in one go. So if you want to see the output of the other one, you need to write this statement. So you mean to say that uh, okay, but okay, give me a second, Anshu. I will get back to you in a while. Okay, Satakshi. So the naming you have used for your data is incorrect, right? So you cannot have test space F. If you
Okay.
remember the
Yeah,
rule,
yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Sorry.
so everywhere you need to change it, right?
Okay, okay.
Now
Got it.
coming to Anshu. Anshu, you can ping your code as well so that I can check. Let me see set class. Ideally should work. I don't see any issue with your code. So I'm just copy pasting your code. Anshu, this is your code. Test. Anshu, it is working. Anshu, there is nothing wrong with your code. Now, if you want to see the output of your, now in place of M, if you want to see F, you can. And now this is for female, this is for male. Both are funny. Try it one more time. Done? Okay. So let's move next program. All right. So we have learned how to create a new data set or multiple data set on the basis of condition. Now we will learn how to create multiple columns, or sorry, first we will learn how to create a column on the basis of condition. So if you look at this data, so now what I'm writing over here is if gender is equal to female, then pocket money is equal to 100, right? And as pocket money equals to 50, so these are the new variables which are not part of this data. However, on the basis of this condition, I'm creating a new variable. All right. Easy one. All right. Now, if you have to create multiple column on the basis of condition, right? If you have to create a multiple column. So for example, in place of pocket money, you also want to create a, let's say, expenses, your college, something like that. So we use one keyword which is known as do. So let me explain you this one. So data test to set SAS help.class. If gender is equal to female, then do. What need to be done? Pocket money is equal to 100, expenses is equal to 550, college is equal to A, and. So remember guys one thing, that whenever you are using a do in SAS, you need to use and. So wherever you will see a do, you need to use and. Alright. Now coming to the next. Else do pocket money is equal to 50, expenses is equal to 200, college is equal to B. And then and. So this program will create three different column for you. Please give it a try. Do let me know once you're done. Shivam done? Alright, so let me move on to the next thing. Now we will be using multiple condition to create a variable. So for example, if gender is equal to female and weight is greater than 100, greater than equals to 100, then expenses equal to 500. Else if your else if gender is equal to female and weight is less than 100, then your expense is 400. Else your expense is 0. So whenever you are using you are passing multiple condition, you will be using else if else if and then else. So what is your condition? Your weight should be 100. Sorry, let's go over. Okay, gender is female and weight is 100, greater than equals to 100, then 500. If it is male, then 0, right? 0, 400, because the weight is less than 100. Female, weight is greater than 100, 500. Done? Let me know once you're done with this. Yes, Shubham. So in this SAS, you can use symbol as well as your mnemonics. Please confirm once it is done. Please let me know once you're done. And what about Azad and Anshu? Similarly to this if statement, we can also use where statement, right? So, however, in where statement, we can use couple of other thing like also. So this will also work like your this statement. So where gender is equal to female, where also weight is greater than 50, where also height is greater than 60. So you can pass multiple conditions. One more thing about if and where, if can be used in data step. However, your where statement can be used in both the places. So let me run this. So all right, so let me move on to the next line of code. You can pass multiple condition like where gender equal to this and weight is greater than 50 and height is less than 60. This will also work like this. All right. So these are few cases of which are similar. Now with where you can use a keyword like between, right? Though you can achieve the same output with the help of if, but you need to tweak your code. And this is pretty simple that using between keyword, you can run your condition for two different boundaries, right? So if you want to achieve the same goal in if, you can achieve by this. All right. So if this and this, so between keyword could not be used with if. Now few more uses of where. So where can be used with the keyword contains. So now contains a, so where name contains a means, so any name which contains a at any location, that would be written by this piece of code. So a you will find a everywhere. Similarly, you can use is not missing with where. You cannot use this with if condition, but you can use this with where. Who is dropped? Someone got dropped in the Azad has dropped, I think. All right. So another good example of where condition, it works with the operator which is known as like. All right. So with like, we can pass two different condition. One is percentage, the other one is a underscore. So percentage means any character, right? And one underscore means one place, any value only for one place. So this percentage symbol is known as wildcard character, and this is known as placeholder, the underscore. So if I'm writing percentage O and underscore, right? So this means my last value could be anything, but before last value I should have O, and before O anything. So I have only one instance where O is just before the last word. Now if you write, let's say A, so Barbara Thomas Williams, right? So this is a use of like operator with the help of where. Now one more use of where is in. So you can pass multiple equality condition in by using in keyword. So where name in Alice, Carol, and Jane. Right. So this is a use of where condition. Okay. So okay. So guys, for today, this is it, because the next topic is a little different, so I want to touch it in on a fresh day. So I'm sharing this piece of code, though you have it with you. Now the session is open for any questions. So if you have any question, do let me know. So I will be sharing this code with the people who are joining the classes. So Shubham, what is your ID? So guys, you can type your ID in the chat box and I will copy from there only. Okay, this is your ID. Yes, L is for less than. Mm. Okay, so one more thing, guys, before I wrap up the session, that uh, to master any programming language, you know, apart from my training, there is another thing which is required, which is the practice, right? And that is the only thing which I cannot do on your behalf, right? So I would appreciate that if you start practicing at home, because that is the only way you can retain this knowledge with you for a longer period of time, right? Having said that, I would also like to give you some more information around this language. So SAS is one, though you may have heard about our Python so much, right? But the true fact is that SAS is still the market leader, right? Shom, I have already shared, I think. So SAS is still the market leader, and they are pretty much have everything, be it your visual analytics, be it big data analytics, they have everything. They have module for everything, every industry. Some good paymaster still prefer SAS, being it the first uh, language which is which is popular amongst analytics professionals, right? It has been a market leader since it came into existence. So it has been challenged by a corporation like IBM through their different software, but still they are able to retain its leadership position, right? So I would appreciate if you keep on practicing this thing. So the book which I have shared, please read that book. It contains a lot of information to get a good grasp on the knowledge. Once you're done with this program, I will share another book which is also a very popular book, and that book is more for a practice perspective, right? So this is it from my side. Any question? No? All right. So happy learning. Stay at home, stay safe, and enjoy learning. Thank you, everyone.